Hello, well, this is Patrick again, and I have taken my blanks and we have cut them down to size, and we have also drilled them on the lathe. So the next step is to go ahead and take the blanks and glue the inserts into the blanks. Now, in order to do that, we need the first step of this is to rough up the blanks. Now, what does it mean to rough up the blanks? Well, you can see here, here's a nice shiny tube, and you see how it slides through the pen blank. We need to rough them up a bit. Now, this one has glue. It was a failed one that from before that I was able to save the tube and by trimming off all the wood. Basically, what we want to do is rough these up by taking sandpaper and scratching them up so that the glue, when we go to glue them, will adhere to the tubes. And you do that and usually just roll these on here. The smaller the grit, the better. I think most people do it at anywhere from 60 to 100 grit. I don't have my 60 to 100 grit pieces of paper, so I'm going to use 150 grit sanding pack, pen turning sanding pack that I got from Woodcraft. Typically, I've been doing it on a sheet of this professional pro grade sandpaper, and this is 320 grit. I don't think it's doing the job that I need to do, so I'm not going to use that today. Instead, I'm going to try this 150 grit sandpaper and see how things go with that. But I'll videotape me doing a few of these so you understand the process, and then the next step we'll get into is gluing all this up. So here we go. Lots of fun. So as you can see here, now we got all the scratches in there. It's marked up a little bit for the glue to hold on to. So we got nine sets here. So we've got 9 bottoms, and 9 tops of the pen. Problem is I have 10 blanks, so I need to pick one of these to be the misfortunate one. This one right here looks to be the one for no reason in particular. So I will go ahead and finish roughing up all of the tubes, and then we'll get on to gluing. Okay, Patrick's back, and I've finished roughing up all my tubes with the sandpaper, and as you can maybe see on there, they're all kind of like scarred and shiny now. So the next step is to actually glue the tube into the appropriate pen blank and leave enough room. That's way too much, by the way. You want to leave like a little edge that we will go clean up later with a cutter and reamer. Now, how do you glue these things together? There's different people have different methods. I've heard some people say take your CA glue and put some into the tube first, get it in there, and then put some CA glue on the pen blank itself. I'm sorry, the tube itself after it's in the pen blank, and then squeeze it in there together, and therefore, kind of do one of these jobbies, turn it around, do one of these jobbies, and then push it in. What I found with that method is it's way too messy, so I don't like doing it that way. The first few pens I made, I used this Hot Stuff Super T instant glue. Right there, instant glue. And what I found with the instant glue is that by the time I got my pen blank and tube inserted about that far, that was it. It was glued. So I had to be very quick, and what happened is sometimes they pop out the other end, and oh no, that doesn't work either. They sell these nice pen insertion tools to try to master the art of putting a blank in there. But then what I found on the tube and the blank, what I found on these is happens just like this, right? That I get it so far, and wait, it doesn't leave the tool. I can't get it off the tool. So I found this to be rather a pain in the butt to do, unless I need to gently nudge it. So what else can you use? I went out and got some CA medium glue here, and want to see if this works a little bit slower for me so that I can appropriately put the tube as far in the blank as I'd like. And I also went out, a lot of people use epoxy. So I did go out and get some 5-minute epoxy that I may try. The epoxy is a lot cheaper than the CA glue. But for tonight, I think I'm going to try the medium CA glue and see how well that works for me. So what do you need for gluing? Well, first thing is something for your hands. I've found the first few times I did this, it gets quite messy, and when your fingers glue to the pen blank and you can't let it go, you know you got a problem then, right? So to avoid that, gloves. The next thing I found is after you're done gluing a tube into blank, have a spare paper towel that you can wipe off your gloves quickly so that it doesn't make a mess over the next tube or blank that you grab. You also want a clean workbench where you can just sit there and line these up and pop them in and go from there. And what I found works best is if you lay down wax paper on top of your workbench and then start gluing these up and putting your blank and tubes down on the wax paper. My wax paper's upstairs. I'm too lazy to go up and get it right now. So what I have is these nice blue shop towels, the Scotch towels. What I found is once I lay the tubes and blanks on these, they will stick to the towel, but guess what? You're going to turn it anyway, and it's going to turn the paper off. So I'm not too worried about leaving that on there. So I'm going to go ahead now and do a couple of these and show you what I do. And you know, I'm still worried about how loose these things are from the drilling, where the tubes just pop right out. We'll see, you know, I'll glue these in and see if it works. And if they start popping out on the next step, then I'll be redoing a lot of work here and find a different method to do it. You know, maybe that drill press or the drill on the lathe works so efficiently and so effectively versus my older method that, you know, just it's too smooth. I'm not sure. Again, I'm a novice. I'm trying this, showing people what I do, just so that they can feel comfortable in screwing up themselves like I do. So let's get started on these. All right, start with the first one here. It's always good not to mess up your tubes to the appropriate blanks. So I'll slide the shorter tubes over there, and now I got my longer tubes over there. Let's go ahead and get started on the first one. What I'll do here is just kind of spread the glue all over here, and then take a blank and see if I can get that in there. Give a little tapsy to make sure it's kind of even in there. I don't know if you can kind of see it's in there just a little bit, and it's hanging out there a little bit, so it's about even, maybe a little bit more, but then that one's done. Do the hand wiping and go on to the next one. Rinse and repeat. Now if I knew how to appropriately edit videos, I'd probably do like time lapse here and speed through all this stuff, but let's just see how this goes here. Give it a little love tap. It's down far enough on one side, and keep these aligned into the same direction, and then move on to the next one. One thing you really don't want to do is get the glue inside the tubes, because then you may have a problem getting the pen pieces in there. All right, that looks good. Put that back down. Wipe the hands off. Go on to the next. Now this is the exciting part about these nice hobbies, is that you know, not each step doesn't take a whole lot of time, but you know, you get lots of practice in these. Wow, this one's really tight in here. To the point where I can't even get that in there. So I'm going to move on to that other pen that we excluded and get that in there. Give it a good tap. It's at least down below the top. Do another little tap. Perfect. You just lost. Make sure I grab the appropriate twin of that and put another one there. All right. That's why I make extras. You just never know. I think that tube was one that I reused from something else. So probably had some extra gunk on there. Like I said, I know it's not because that drill turned it down too much. Alrighty. Look at that. First 5 done. Bunch more to go. Uh-oh. And now I'm running into a problem. I got so much on my gloves here that I'm starting to stick. Okay, that one's good. Like I said, everybody's got their own method for doing these, and I think it's important that basically you go with what works for you the best. This method has worked for me for the first set of pens that I did. We'll see with this medium glue and the lathe, drilling on a lathe, if it works for me or not. And if not, you try something else and adjust. So this is, you know, you have pen turners who have turned thousands of pens, say, you know, each and every one has its own challenge, and they kind of mix up and do these a different way. Well, that goes for the rest of us too. I figured that out. Alrighty. So here's the last tube for the last bottom piece. Get this turned in here. This turned in here. Little tapsy. And that's it. We got our bottoms in. So what we got left here is to do the top pieces. So I will start on those next. If anybody has any questions, please raise your hand. Yeah, I know. It's getting late here and it's been a long day, so I'm getting a little giddy here. A little tap. Perfect. Right on there. And I like to reline up the bottoms and the tops, just so I don't mix them up. They're all marked. It's not that big of a deal, but just looks better. Makes it easier for me to find stuff. I got enough problems without trying to lose my mind. So, alrighty. So I have enough room to put the tops on for those. You can see this step is kind of like watching glue dry, literally. Just kind of a little bit of repetition of putting this stuff together. One thing I found is improving technique is, you know, when you go to the next step of using the cutter over here to cut the ream out and flatten the tops of the pens, the more accurate and closer you can get these cuts, the better. So, you know, refining and tuning your jigs and how you cut and so forth can save you time and effort later. So, you know, tonight I cut these blanks on a table saw using my table saw sled, and it looks like they're closer and more accurate than I've ever been. Less problems with blowouts and cutting, which can occur. I've got a number of as you can see here, the tube came out of this one when I went to flatten it, and you can see how far I am here on trying to flatten it. I was quite a bit off, which probably caused some of the problems. And you can see here trying to drill by hand, went in straight there, way crooked on here, and caused some blowout. Same thing here, go to drill. Some of this wood is like really soft, and just kind of blew up. This one again, too close to the edge. I didn't want to try turning that one. And this one as well. Again, center went in and kind of came out crooked on the bottom and blew out all that wood. Luckily, got lots of wood. Some of the blank kits I bought, nothing too exotic, so not really a great loss for those few blanks. Now when you get into some of the acrylics and finer blanks, that would be disheartening. To blow out that many. All right, 4 more here. So this is fast drying glue. You can probably wait 15-20 minutes before you start the next step. However, for myself, I like to just leave them overnight. I don't even know what time it is tonight, but just leave them overnight, and then tomorrow I'll come back, and it's the first time I'm going to try squaring these up using the drill press. I've been doing it with a hand drill, and what I found was that it didn't come out right. Somebody suggested using the drill press. Since my drill press is too short to get in there, do the actual drilling, it may be good for squaring up the ends. So we will see how well that works. All right, 2 more of these things, and then we should know tomorrow as we try to ream these out and flatten them and square off the ends. We'll be able to see how well this glue is holding them in case any of them come out. If they all start popping out, then I got a bigger chore to do. So I can either throw out the blanks and start over, or I can turn them all to get my tubes back. Tubes are relatively inexpensive thing to do. Go buy more. I got plenty of blanks. This is really just test wood. Well, I'll be not sure how that happened, but there's already a tube in here. I think this is one I was showing earlier. Yep, that's exactly what happened. I was showing earlier how well that would fit. Let's hope this glue. Oh, darn. All right, there we go. Always good to be prepared. So that's pretty much it. We've got all these glued. Tubes are in the blanks, and tomorrow's step, or the next step, will be, once these dry, is to mount them up here and square them off. So that would work once the tube is in here. We put the reamer on there and then trim these flat so that the barrels go all the way to the top. The barrel of the tube goes up at the top. So that's pretty much it. This is Patrick signing off. Next thing, clean up your glue, clean up all your gloves and stuff, and then go take a break. So thank you all, and see you next time.